Welcome back to the Better Together podcast. My name is Mike Baker. I'm your host. This is going to be another great episode. We have Doree Hanford from A Parent's Paradise. This is an incredible program. We're going to talk about mom prom. We're going to talk about postpartum depression. We're going to talk about what it's like being a parent nowadays and all of the resources that are available for people that need it. So if you're a parent, if you're going to be a parent, if you know someone that's going to be a parent, you're going to enjoy this episode. And just remember that it's okay to ask for help. Let's get into it. Well, hello, Doree. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us today on the podcast. This is going to be a great conversation, and I always love seeing your beautiful hair because, as we can all tell, this one's gone. And seriously, if I had hair, I've told people I'd dye it, I'd play with it. I miss flicking my hair. So anyway, it's lovely. I love it. It's great to have you here. How are things going? How have you guys been?
We're doing good. I am amazed. It's 3 years since we started. And I feel like when we first talked, I was like, I'm starting a nonprofit. And you're like, okay, there's a lot of nonprofits.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of whole thing. And I was just like, it's going to happen. And somehow it's been more than I could have imagined that it's worked out in different ways. So we've had 2 mom proms. Our third one's next week.
Dude, that's amazing. I know. I remember after we talked, I was like, okay, there's lots of things to do with the nonprofit. And then seriously, 2 weeks later, I got it all done, ready to go. It was amazing. I was like, wow, that is fast. You did a great job. And I think that is that's the power of, we were talking before we started recording, the founder, you have this powerful vision and idea, and there's almost nothing in the world that stops those people, those founders. You had this passion, this idea to get something going, want to make a difference, and literally you move mountains to get to that spot. Let's talk a little bit about, for those people that don't know, what is A Parent's Place, and we talk about the mom prom and stuff, but let's start at the very start. What in the heck are you doing in the world right now?
I had this dream. It's been now, my son is 15, so it's around 15 years that I had this dream. But I had a child who was born with a broken collarbone, and he screamed like a banshee. And I swear I felt like I was the only one who loved him. It was like, oh gosh,
this is a great start.
This is really hard. And before I knew it, I had fallen into postpartum depression, lost my mind probably because of lack of sleep. And I just remember at that stage in my life thinking, gosh, it would be so great if I could just show up someplace and take a nap. Mm-hmm. Not have to call and find somebody to babysit this kid that is screaming and nobody really wants to deal with.
Yep.
But to be able to just show up and be held, because I was doing 24/7, right? And you do, as a parent, you do 24/7. Mm-hmm. It's a nonstop gig. You just don't know what you're signing up for when you become a parent until you step over onto the other side. Mm-hmm. So for me, I really just longed for a space where somebody could help me figure that out. And there isn't a space like that. And there isn't for parents. I think we just get handed a baby and they say, see ya, good luck. Good luck, figure it out. And it's not always that simple. Some people struggle with breastfeeding. Some people struggle with a colicky baby that's up all night screaming. There's all these different uncertainties, and there's not a lot of guidance. And this generation is so different from previous generations, where parents used to be really involved with, grandparents were really involved. There's this trend right now. So many young children that are having kids are cutting their parents out of their life completely. Whether it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I relied so much on our parents when our kids were firstborn. It was before we moved to Coeur d'Alene. Our first two boys were super colicky. I mean, so I would spend the nights asleep on the only place we could get them to sleep would be in the bathroom in their little papoose thing, and then the water running full blast in the tub, and like that white noise. But it was only that frequency, and so I like the first year and a half of their lives, like I'd sleep in the bathroom on the floor with the water running.
Yes,
but and then you have family around you to have a little bit of a break.
Huge.
But yeah, when we moved up here, we didn't have family. And then, you really have to figure out how to rely on each other in that space. And then you have people that don't have someone to rely on, and you're alone. And I mean, you mentioned briefly, that village concept, right? We don't have that anymore. And I think these younger families that are doing it all alone, that's a challenge.
It is. And it's really isolating. I mean, our childhood, I'm sure you remember this too. Like you just took off. Your parents didn't know where you went.
Yeah.
You were roaming the neighborhood, running in and out of your neighbors' houses like stray cats. Like, kids were just
and
all
everybody
over the place.
knew where they were, but it was just one of 5 houses.
We maybe call this person or that person, but that is not the scenery right now. In our generation of raising kids right now. It is, kids can't go outside and play.
Yeah.
There's worry. Parents have this extra stress of like, is CPS going to be calling because my kid's in the front yard? Or am I going to be worried that somebody's going to take all these extra worries of this generation compared to what it was like when we were growing up.
Right.
It's such a different scene. So the village, the people that were there, your neighbors that were there, that were supporting, come on in, come hang out at our house. That's just not what's happening. So there's a lot more isolation. And I think that's where we get the 1 in 7 moms struggle with postpartum mood disorders, 1 in 10 dads. And there's just no support. So we talk a lot about childhood trauma.
Right.
But we don't talk about, hey, maybe if you helped parents, there could be less trauma.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my mission.
So that's what you're doing. You're bringing people together and creating a space where there is that. I mean, you're building the village.
That's the goal.
Which we live in a community that wants to be together.
Yes.
But sometimes it just takes that person, that founder to go, we're going to create some structure around this and provide something that makes a lot of sense. It's really cool. Let's talk about Mom Prom, because that's that's coming up and it's going to be amazing. This will probably air a little after Mom Prom.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like what that is and how cool that event is.
It is so cool. Like I didn't realize what I was creating when I created it. So Mom Proms are all over the nation. I didn't invent it, but I did invent the Coeur d'Alene Mom Prom.
That's right.
And the Coeur d'Alene Mom Prom is pretty amazing. I went to the Spokane Mom Prom this last year, and I realized I could do a whole lot less than I do. People would have a great time.
Sure.
But we do a lot because it's also a part of our charity. We want to give moms the night of their life. We want to make sure that they're being cared for. So we have partners like Project Beauty Share. They've donated so many items that we put in grab bags and we just give to moms, so they get a really cool grab bag. When they come in, they get their little corsage wristband. So we give them a corsage, there's food and there's dancing, and we have prizes. So we have this game where we put numbers on the floor and it's like musical chairs, sort of.
Sure.
I don't know, cakewalk musical chairs, something.
Good hybrid of something awesome, yeah.
Yeah. And they can just run to, when the music stops, they have to run to a number and get called a number and get a prize. So these are just free prizes on the table. And then we have 80 sponsors, 80 people in the community that are like, let me give you this. Let me donate this service or that service. Clark's Jewelry gave us this year. I mean, they've donated the last 3 mom proms. And this year is this beautiful necklace that's $3,500.
That's so cool.
As a mom, I would not ever spend that much money on myself. So it's really cool because a mom can enter that in and like win something she wouldn't normally do for herself. There's spa packages and childcare and parenting coaching and different things like this that the community is like, we'll come together and we'll support. Oh, you're doing something for moms. We want to be a part of it. And it's such a magical night. It's so cool that all these women who have these mantles that are constantly going and the constant weight of parenthood get to take that mantle off for a minute and just laugh and dance and have a great time. We had moms doing the splits last year. I was just so amazed. Yeah. It's so cool because they're just getting around each other, and it's this wonderful environment where everybody's lifting each other up. You know, when girls get in a room with each other, they're just like, "Oh, you look so pretty." Oh, you know, like that's what happens there. Yeah. It's really awesome.
Well, it's fun. I mean, one of my favorite things is to watch my wife and her sister get together. And it's just, I mean, that energy that comes when you're with somebody you trust and life is good. And I mean, my wife's sister has this laugh that everybody knows. And it's just that laugh that lights up a room. And, you know, you get people like that. But you were mentioning like the weight, you know, that's on mom's shoulders, that we're focused heavily on, you know, engaging with the community in this project to improve women's health across the board. We've got a big project. We had this community forum last weekend, you know, standing room only, people coming in ready to have these conversations. But I mean, overall physical health, we know we can do better. But, you know, looking at the mental health side of women's health right now is so strong. I mean, you mentioned postpartum. And I mean, there's this, I think people don't talk about it enough as we go through this. And let's talk about, like, you know, what are you seeing? And I mean, the mom prom is, I love how you described it. I describe it like that a lot too. It's like, take that backpack off and relax for a minute. At some point that backpack does come back on, but you can be stronger because you took it off for a minute and you had some rest, and you know you can take it off again. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what are you seeing with moms you're working with and people in the community?
Yeah, I mean, most of the people that I find that need support, when you're a new nonprofit, you're just like, hey, we're a nonprofit, we'll help. You know, but I'm a part of most of the Facebook mom groups in our area. So I see daily moms posting on there, I'm struggling with this. What do I do? Where do I go for this? We just had a mom post like, I need some moms to come into my house and help me because everything is just out of control and overwhelming. And I was like, great, we have a nonprofit. Yeah. We'll show up. And so a handful of us came, and we found a couple dressers. We helped organize. We cleared off the whole, chaos of life that happens sometimes. And I feel like mentally, when things are that overwhelming, you don't even know where to start.
Totally, yeah.
So just to be able to go in and be like, okay, we cleared this off. Now all you need to do is like continue forward. That's huge for mental health. That's huge to know, like, you're not alone.
When you ask for help and somebody showed up. I mean, that's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the kinds of things that are important. Or like last year, we had a mom who lost twins. I mean, to be able to give her doula a scholarship and be like, just support her, whatever she needs, and not have her worry about like that support and where it's coming from. That's huge to be able to do that, or to help a couple that have maybe a high risk pregnancy who don't have support, to give them the opportunity to have a doula with them, walking alongside them is so huge, because people look at these things as like a luxury, like a doula should be no, it actually should be a normal thing. We should be helping people.
I mean, there's always been somebody by the side of somebody having a baby. I mean, that's sort of how it's always been. And whether that was a grandma, a friend, a parent, somebody, and I mean, that was just, I mean, I remember asking, lots of questions about trying, like, well, I'm a dad, what am I supposed to do? And I mean, but being able to have those connections, but honestly, having somebody there by your side in that doula support, just being able to anticipate some different things and prepare people, and like you said before, just walk alongside people along this crazy journey of life. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's not whether or not parenting is going to be hard.
Right.
It's going to be hard. So we should prepare. We should start by preparing people prenatally with mental health. We have a counselor on board, not whether or not you're going to need them. We're saying you're going to need them because there's things that you're going to need adjusting to. We're going to have pelvic health on board because you're going to need it, whether or not you like have a serious issue or not. Having that, another form of contact for you, instead of just having your OB be your contact, because they leave you after 6 weeks, right? They see you at that 6 week mark, and then that's done. That's done with their care. There needs to be this other societal care that isn't medical, that is relational, that happens after you give birth and you have a child. And whether it's your sixth child or your first child, you need it. Yeah.
That's a big deal. And I think, that's one of the things that, that we're looking at within the women's health program here. It's really, I mean, so we just have, like, as of May 1st, Coeur d'Alene Pediatrics is now part of Heritage Health.
Oh, yeah, I just
right.
heard.
And so we'll have pediatrics, but then, speaking to the whole picture, I mean, that is the goal. So, we have babies, and then, the women's health program is also available to help and support moms, new parents, whatever it is, with both the physical and mental health side of things, and having that connected. So pediatricians, obviously they're pediatricians, they're checking on the babies, but we all know they care about the parents too. And so making sure, like, okay, I always ask, how are you doing? But also, how are you doing? And maybe you're not, you look like you could need a little help. Guess what? We have a therapist, we have a case manager down the hall. Let's just make sure that you've got the support that you need, right? And so, like, trying to tie these things together, in the first time we were talking about all the women's health stuff that was going on.
For sure.
And, like, this is that next step of it. But, you look at this and say, as a system, as society, we've become so divided in so many different ways, but even just the way that healthcare is provided, it's like, okay, you go to this place for your doctor visit and this place for a therapist and yada, 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 and all these specialists. And, now, I mean, the way I see the women's health program coming, it's like, okay, whether we're doing OB or not, there's a connection with OB docs through the pregnancy. We have the baby, OB, they do their things, transition back to primary care. And then we have pediatricians, and then the whole Center for Healthy Living concept down on Celtice, medical, dental, physical health, our food is medicine, and, exercise programs and pharmacy, and like all those things tie together. Like, that's, I think, how you can bring the system together. But then as you have other nonprofits and stuff in the community, like, here are these extra supports, that we can link up with. And I think that's what I love so much about the work that you're doing. You mentioned at the start, like, some people might think that this is some luxury to have a mom prom. Oh my gosh, like, just think about the impact of having a night off, taking a deep breath, and being able to go home and go, the world is still okay.
Yeah.
And then being able to deal with those problems. Like, it's a huge deal what you're doing, but it's not just, hey, we have a problem. Like, that's a celebration. That's an awesome thing. This means that there's a village of people around women in our community that need it. That's impressive.
Absolutely. And I think, coming back to what you were saying about pediatricians, that is who moms have seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only person that they see regularly.
Right.
And, they're pediatricians. That's their scope,
Yep.
right? So it needs to be, hey, we're walking alongside you. This other community type thing that's not medical, right?
Right.
Because it brings it all together. Because we don't want people. One of the hardest things is when you're going through postpartum depression to admit that you're crazy.
It's okay.
Right? Like,
yeah. And to
I'm
talk
a little
about
bit
it.
crazy, and I could talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But like, it would be great
Yep.
if you didn't have to worry about falling into the crisis, right? Because you're getting that community support, because you're getting that connection, because you're feeling it in that space. It's like, yes, all this is here.
Yep. On that person that's watching out for you, going, look, you're usually happy, life's okay, something's up. And I mean, we all notice it. And then to help people realize that it's normal. You don't have to hide the fact that, like, you just had a baby, your hormones, your body is going, what just happened here?
Yes.
Hormones are trying to figure itself out. Like, you're not crazy. Your body is adapting to this new thing.
Right.
And we have to figure it out. But that means that, having that extra support to come in alongside it. I mean, you hear stories of, like, women that are trying to hide it because they don't want people to think that they're crazy or weak or whatever label.
That's the biggest thing.
Every single person is walking through something right now. Yours just happened to come from this particular thing. And that's okay.
And normalizing that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the part that it's not normal to not be a super mom.
Right.
Like, people are like, oh, you got to, you need help? Yeah, I kind of do. I'm kind of like at my wit's end and I don't have any more rope.
Yep. Like the Instagram version of life is not real, right?
That's not real. It's not the reality.
It's messy
You're gonna
diapers
have
and messy rooms and kids screaming.
Crazy.
And that's like the fun part of life too. It's chaotic and crazy, but man, you look back at those days and it's, whoa.
How do
we do it?
How did I make it? I had that question all the time, because I have 6 kids and they're like, oh, how did you do it? And I'm like, I don't really know. Like,
I'm
made
still
it.
here.
Somehow we made it every day.
Yep.
Somehow it all worked out, right? But yeah, I mean, just normalizing that it's a hard stage and that you're gonna need support. I think that's one of the things that, I don't know if it's like an American thing or something within our culture where we feel like we have to do it all by ourselves, or else we're not good enough or whatever. Where other countries I mean, I'm not saying every country is perfect, but I'm saying like Finland, they got their year off for the parental leave. They're spending that time with their people, really recognizing that this is the time where you need to be with your little one and you need that extra support. And they rally around that.
Right.
That this is a normal thing, that you need help at this time, where that's just not what we do here. It's like you don't even get 6 weeks off sometimes, or you don't even get a couple weeks off sometimes. You're just expected to go back to work.
Well, and that isolation, we talked about earlier versus, like, I don't know, I always love the scene in Lion King, right? Where it's like, here's the baby. But, I mean, growing up, and, it still probably happens for lots of people, but maybe not others. But, you have a baby shower, like you have these other opportunities where people gather to celebrate this new life that's coming in. And those have always been opportunities for humans to connect around a new life coming. And if you don't have those supports, if you're alone, I mean, again, it's really easy to feel alone. And I mean, I think anybody that's listening, right, if you're a parent, you know what we're talking about here. Like there are those nights where like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And, and it doesn't stop when the kid's 1 or 2 or 3. I mean,
or 16.
I don't know, my kids are 25, you know, like you still worry about them. But you have enough miles on the car to go, all right, we're going to get through this next problem. And sometimes you just need that or somebody to go along that journey with you.
Well, and I think one of the things, I mean, I didn't recognize it until I became a parent, and you could probably feel it now that you're a parent too. But like, I never understood child abuse until I became a parent. And then I was like, oh, I could see how I could totally snap right now and not be the best version of myself. Right. And the best of us, the very best of us as parents are going to have days where we're touched out, tapped out, overloaded, and overwhelmed. And wouldn't it be better if we could be like, okay, I know where I'm going.
Yeah, we got a spot. Yeah.
I'm going to this place. I'm taking a break from you. I'm resetting my nervous system so that I can be a good human being.
Right.
And then I'll come back and I can parent you in such a better way. I have kids that are on the spectrum. And for the longest time when they were little, I thought, I'm just a bad mom.
Right.
Why are they acting like this? I don't understand. How can they have such strong emotions or these things happening? Recognizing that they were on the spectrum was a huge shift in my life to realize that their brains worked a little bit differently than my ADD brain. They saw things a little bit differently. The way they processed things were a little bit different. But I also lived through, I was able to get respite because my kids were on the spectrum. And having that break from my kids, my oldest, he's just like, you change one thing. He's like, why did you change that thing? How come this is this way? I don't understand. And his brain would just obsess about certain things. And I would get really irritated. What do you mean? Like, why are you talking to me like that? Don't talk back to me. You know, you kind of get into that mode as a parent. But once I got respite, I had somebody else come in and like help him get ready in the morning. My mom was able to be my respite person. The way that that's changed, my relationship with my son is huge. The person that he is today, the person that I am today, our relationship, had we not had that break, had we not had that minute, I could see that I would be in that space of just
lost, right?
that locked in space. And I think a lot of parents find themselves in that space where they're just like, I don't know what to do with you, kid.
And that becomes 10 extra bricks in the backpack because, you know, you're beating yourself up for not being a good parent. And I mean, all this other thing when honestly, like the dynamic shifting with a new person in the relationship or a little time to breathe. But like, you know, your son probably built a good relationship with, you know, deeper relationship with your mom because of the time that he had with her, you know, stuff like that. Like you're building community, but I mean, you're just normalizing it in a way to say, like, being a parent is hard. And you don't have to go at this alone. So don't be that awesome person that feels like they have to tough it out all alone. Like, it's okay to ask for help. And nobody is perfect. I mean, there's not a perfect parent out there. No. Everybody struggles. Everybody's fighting a battle. And so whatever you see on social media that looks like, oh, that's the perfect family, like everybody's got a battle. And look, we should celebrate those great days. That's awesome. But normalize the days that aren't and just recognize that you're not alone, kind of being a part of it. So, yeah.
Exactly.
What's next for you guys? Like, you think a few years ahead, you talked about maybe creating a physical space for the program and stuff like that. So what are your big dreams? What does this look like as you fast forward a few years?
I get to tell you my dream?
Let's hear it.
My biggest dream is, to create, I call it a paradise.
I love it.
I want parents to walk in and be like, oh, that's the sound I want them
I love
to make.
it. I describe that even for the Women's Health Center that we're building. It's like just that take the backpack off and take a deep breath. So there's something to it.
Yeah, just walk into a nice calming space where their kids can be watched. That's a safe space for their kids to be watched, and they could take a nap if they needed to. They could sit and read a book or have some coffee or do whatever they needed to do to recenter and regather. And then also in this space, it would be childbirth education, lactation, pelvic floor physical therapy, anything that's going to strengthen parents. I don't know if there's a conscious fathering class that's happening in our community. I want those kinds of things. I want dads to feel connected, because it can be really isolating for fathers. And fathers are so key. We need them. We really need them so bad.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, we really, what could we do to strengthen these young families so that there's less divorce, so that people want to have children again, right? We have this really low birth rate in our society. Well, why? Because people are petrified.
It's scary.
Petrified of having kids,
looking
right?
at it, right? It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So what if we created this spot where people were like, okay, if I have a kid, I know I can come here and get support, and it's not going to feel so isolating and alone. Wouldn't that be just great?
It would be great. Yes.
That's the mission and goal, is to just create that village again, and that understanding. If you need help because you're totally tapped out or fried from having some sort of interaction with your kid, maybe having your brief coaching session with somebody and getting a different perspective. Those are the kinds of things that I really want to offer.
That. Well, sometimes it's advice is accepted a little more, or it's less threatening when it's a friend versus, oh, you need to go to therapy.
Right.
I mean, obviously therapy is really important, and obviously use professionals for that. There's also that advice that you get from a friend that's like, oh, okay, I'm going to reframe and think about this just a little bit differently. It's not as intimidating, or, there's a space there. And I think that's what's missing as people isolate. You don't get a chance to just sit down and go, oh my gosh, my kids were doing this the other day, and they're like, mine too, or, and then you kind of have some strategies around that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's the kind of thing, when I went through postpartum depression, the hardest thing was actually trusting a therapist enough to talk to them about intrusive thoughts, about feelings I was feeling. And I think that that's one of the hardest things for parents. If you have people that you trust, that you went to this space and you saw their faces and you knew them while you were pregnant, and then afterwards you still know them, that's a way easier person to confide in and to trust in and to be around than somebody just straight out of the, okay, what is, when you call a crisis line, I don't know if you know how difficult that is. Right. It's scary. It's scary, and it doesn't necessarily feel safe, because they ask you the question, like, are you suicidal? Well, do I have to be to get help?
Right.
I'm calling because I'm not feeling like myself.
Avoid that situation.
I would like to not even think about that. But I mean, when I was going through postpartum depression, that's the question I got asked. Are you suicidal? Well, no.
Yeah.
Do I have to be suicidal to get the support that I need? And I think that that's the hardest thing. Parents are petrified their kids are going to get taken away.
Yeah, if I say the wrong thing.
What will happen? Will CPS come to my house? No. Like, what if we could just be in a nice space where we can talk openly and realize, like, sometimes this parenting thing is hard and it sucks.
Just
right?
recognize it's part of the normal process.
This is a normal thing.
And you're normal for being stressed out and worried about your kids and feeling inadequate. And
all those things are just normal human emotions. Yeah. Yeah,
let's get through it. I love it. I've always just loved your energy and like how you see the world. This podcast has been really fun, but like, getting to ask you about like, what are your dreams and where you see this, like your eyes light up, like you can see this thing. And it's because of people like you that, programs like these exist, and you're making a difference in our community. And that's a huge deal. As we kind of start to wrap this up, is there anything else you wanted to cover today or want to talk about? I'd love a little advice for that new parent out there that's listening. If we give them like 2 things that we could think about and say, hey, do this and then call us. But is there anything else you want to cover?
Oh, goodness.
And it's totally fine if we had a great conversation.
We
so.
really did have a great conversation. I would just, the advice that I would say for young parents, for new parents is you're not alone. It feels lonely. We're here.
Yeah.
And our hearts are totally drawn towards young families. My heart is there. I want to support. Now all my kids are in school, so I'm like, oh, I have a minute to breathe. And what kind of mom could I help today?
That's so powerful.
That's the goal and that's the dream. And the other thing I would just say is, if you are passionate about this, anybody listening, please join us. We can't do it alone. I'm not going to be able to create this on my own. I know that. I know that it's going to take community building. I know that it's going to be like we're working together to make this a great place. I know that in order for this to work, everybody has to be involved and everybody has to say, hey, you know where you would do well at? A parent's paradise.
Yeah.
Why don't you go there and get some support? Because that's what's going to change this community. That's what, we'll start in Coeur d'Alene and then we'll change the whole world.
Exactly.
Right?
There's something about this name of this podcast, like Better Together, right?
Yes,
like
absolutely.
You're better together as we figure all this stuff out.
Absolutely.
And how do people get a hold of you? So we'll put stuff in the show notes, but I want to tell people how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, well, you can go to parentsparadisecharities.com.
There you go.
And all of our information's on there.
That's great.
Feel free to reach out to us through email too.
And then you have social media. Sounds like you're
we're
in all
on
the parent groups, so that's great.
Insta and the Facebook mostly.
That's
we
great.
do have a little TikTok presence, but it's not as...
I think everyone's trying to figure that space out. I need to learn how to dance.
Oh, it's, it's an interesting... I think Instagram's the hardest for me.
Yeah, they're all just fascinating.
They're also different.
Then there's so many of them. I'm like, it's so hard to keep track. But I love it as, mechanisms to get information out to people. So if you're out there, make sure you follow all of the links inside the show notes. And if you are a parent out there, you're not alone.
You're not.
And you've got this. And if you need help, just ask.
Yep.
And it'll be there. And we'll get through it. Well, thank you for being here with us today. You're doing great work. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.